What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Today's topic is kind of boring. It's sleep, but it's super important. And this is Tips with Trev, the show where I give developing baseball players some easy tips to end their slumps faster and become a superstar sooner. Let's get to it. All right, you've probably heard it a million times. Sleep is important, and it is. It actually really is important. It's not sexy or fun to go to sleep earlier or to sleep longer, but it's really important, and it helps you out in a lot of ways. So let's talk about the first thing, which is how it helps. Like, how does sleep actually help you? And studies have shown that it really boosts your recovery. During deep sleep is when your body actually fully recovers. Like that's your time to repair muscle, to make any physical gains that you're trying to make dietary wise, or adding muscle or losing fat or something like that. Like, you need to sleep. You need to have the right amount of deep sleep to make that happen. It helps with memory. Studies show that in REM sleep is when you actually commit your day's experiences to memory. So if you're trying to learn a skill, this is when you're committing that skill to memory and actually, learning it, as opposed to just getting a practice effect and then, not committing it and then having to redevelop it or relearn it the next day. So REM sleep is super important. And for those who don't know, there's awake, light sleep, REM sleep, deep sleep. It's kind of the four stages. REM sleep, again, is for memory. Deep sleep is for recovery. Light sleep, you're just kind of there, and awake is obviously awake. So now you understand at least the four levels of sleep that there is. So skill acquisition is another important part. Like, if you're committing stuff to memory from that day, if you're trying to acquire a skill, I know I touched on this a little bit, but like, that's your time. The more you sleep, that's your time to develop the skill, to internalize it. If you're not getting the amount of REM sleep that you need, it's going to take you longer to develop that skill. You're going to develop slower on the field. You're going to develop slower in whatever you're trying to do, and you're going to lose ground to your competition. So those who sleep more and can do this have a huge advantage. It also helps with your mood. Sleep, the studies show the more you sleep, the better mood you're in. It helps with your hormones. It can regulate testosterone and growth hormone and a lot of different things in your system that helps with overall happiness in life. Again, your mood, this is kind of how it helps your mood, but repairing muscle, growing muscle, like sleep affects all of these different things in different ways. So if you're not sleeping, you're not getting the benefit that you could out of that time. You're not getting recovered, you're not restoring yourself, et cetera, et cetera. So that's the first thing. The next thing is, okay, if you value sleep and you decide, okay, I want to sleep better, I want to get these benefits, like, how do you know that you're sleeping better? How do you measure it? So how well are you sleeping, first off, and then how do I get better at it? Or maybe I'm sleeping really well already and I don't need to get better at it, but how do you measure this? Well, there's a couple different ways you can do that. I started about 8 years ago on an app on my phone called Sleep App. It's not great. You set it on your bed at night and it gives you some indication of how well you slept. It's definitely not very accurate, but it's better than nothing. At least I know like how much I slept, and I can see some indication of like when I was awake and when I was in the different levels of sleep. There's other things like a Whoop band or an Oura ring. I actually have on an Oura ring right now. This is a fitness tracker. A lot of people ask me why I wear it, but it measures my sleep. It measures heart rate, calories burned, activity levels, stuff like that, resting heart rate, body temperature. Now, does it do all these super accurately? No, it probably doesn't. But again, it's better than nothing. It's a step up. It actually does sleep pretty well. It does heart rate pretty well. So, but I can wear it in a non-intrusive way. I can wear it every day. And it kind of tracks what I'm doing. I get a general sense of how many calories I burned that day. I get a general sense of how long I slept, etc. There's other things too. There's wristbands that you can wear. But there's definitely some options out there. Some beds actually nowadays monitor sleep quality. So, but it's important to have something that you're measuring that you can get some feedback from, and you can tell, what's affecting your sleep and how do I get better at it. And then lastly, just some best practices. You want to go to sleep at a consistent time and wake up at a consistent time, if at all possible. It's really difficult on the body if you're going to bed at 9 one night, 1 o'clock in the morning the next night, 11 o'clock, 7 p.m. Like if you're jumping all around, it throws off your body's rhythm. So a super consistent sleep time and wake time, if at all possible. You want to try to get, generally speaking, 8.5, 9 hours in bed asleep. This is not true for every single person. It's just a really general, broad guideline. But if you don't have a way of measuring for yourself, what's optimal for you, then that's a generally good place to start. That's why the feedback loop is so important, though, because it varies greatly from person to person. Another thing is having a very dark and cold room. Studies show that the best room temperature is around 65 to 68 degrees, and that helps. The mechanism is, as your body is going through the day, it's warm, whatever, and then back in human history, when it would go to be night, temperatures would cool, and that would signal to the body, the cooling temperatures and the body actually cooling would signal that it's time to go to sleep. And so this is kind of how your body is wired. So at night, when you can drop the temperature down into the mid 60s like that, it signals to your body that it's time to go to sleep, and it actually starts putting your body to sleep. Darkness is really important as well. Any sort of light that you see, especially blue light, is going to distract you. It's going to keep your brain active. You may not even realize it. So people that are looking at their phones right until the time they go to sleep, people that watch TV to go to sleep, you're getting a lot of blue light in, and blue light is kind of signaling that it's daytime, keeping your body awake. Darkness signals nighttime, which again, in combination with the cold, helps put your body to sleep. So that's super important. If you do want to look at a screen, turn on night shift, get some blue light blocking glasses, something like that, to at least minimize that effect. But a good practice is to put down the screens and don't look at blue light or TV or computers or anything like that at least an hour before you're trying to fall asleep. Those are just some general practices, some things. There's other things like aromatherapy, lavender, and melatonin that you can do, like some supplements, stuff like that. One thing that is important to discuss, I guess, in this is sleeping pills. Yes, you fall asleep, but your quality of sleep is usually very, very bad on sleeping pills. So it doesn't really help you. In a lot of cases, they actually hurt you. Alcohol, same way. Some people use alcohol as a downer to kind of pass out. Not recommended at all. You sleep worse. Well, yes, you are asleep, but you're sleeping worse than you would have. And so the net effect is you wake up in a worse spot than you would have without the alcohol. So those are just some things to think about, some things to talk about, some reasons that you might want to prioritize sleep. Again, there's a lot of benefits to sleeping, health, happiness, recovery, etc. Have a feedback loop that you can measure it. If you're getting better, if you're getting worse, have some idea, and then give you guys some best practices. So hopefully this helps. Hopefully it gets you to prioritize sleep a little bit, or at least educate you a little bit more on what's going on at night in a really brief kind of way. I'm by no means a sleep doctor, but this is just stuff that I've picked up over many meetings and consulting with people and searching out how do I actually maximize the time that I'm in bed. So if this video helped you guys, please leave a comment, like, subscribe. Let me know if there's any other topics that you'd like to see covered. If you think someone is suffering from not sleeping enough or could benefit from this, please share the video with them. I really want to help people. I make these videos as a resource to you to try to help you guys get better. If you could help me out, try to get to my goal of 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2020, that would be great. You can do that by sharing this video with your friends, letting them know that the channel's here to help them. And other than that, it's time for me to go. So I'm out, and I'll see you on Friday.